I'm Eric Entz, the head of sustainability for PlasCred, and I am focused on involving our organization in the circular economy, specifically when it comes to plastic credits and sustainability certifications. Plastic credits are a way for organizations to involve themselves in cleaning up the plastic pollution around the planet. So a plastic credit represents a ton of plastic removed from the environment. So it's a transmissible credit for getting rid of a ton of waste plastic from the environment. How do they work? So organizations or projects around the world either collect or recycle plastic in one way or another. And by doing so and by verifying that they are doing that, they are granted plastic credits through specific standards bodies that they are able to sell or transfer to different organizations.
Waste plastic is brought to specific collection points throughout North America, at which point our partner CN Rail trains those plastics to the PlasCred facility in Alberta. Once we receive those waste plastics, we sort and wash them, running them through the PlasCred process and reducing them back to their base liquid hydrocarbons. This process, because it has rid waste plastics from circulation, should result in PlasCred having a viable avenue to receive plastic credits for its activities. These credits will then be used to fund cleanup programs worldwide, bringing more waste plastics into the PlasCred ecosystem.
To ensure that your project is being done properly in a way that grants access to plastic credits, you have to go through a process where you are submitting project development documents, you're submitting documentation around how you are monitoring, verifying, and reporting the operations and the processes that you're going through that do result in plastic being removed from the environment. You're able to register your project with a plastic standards body. Particularly in this case, we're working on submitting to Verra, which is the largest plastic and carbon standard body on the planet. Quantification in the way of what a plastic credit is: a ton of plastic removed from the environment, either collected, recycled mechanically or recycled chemically. As long as that plastic was headed to a waste end of life instead of a useful end of life, that will count towards plastic crediting. Quantification in terms of what's the market value of a plastic credit for if you're going to sell it rather than transfer it. That's a little bit more nebulous. The industry is fairly nascent. It's 2-3 years old. The prices vary from anywhere from $50 for a credit up to $200 for a credit based on specific other externalities that go hand in hand with these projects. Community co-benefits, where it is in the world, what type of plastic you're getting rid of. Are you getting rid of ocean plastics, land plastics? How are you removing it? Those type of things, they all kind of add up to the value of the credit in the end, as well as other stuff like how closely you're monitoring the project. The more intricately you're monitoring it, the higher value credits can have. Right now, the main purchasers for plastic credits are kind of the same people who have created the plastic pollution to begin with. A lot of these giant CPG and consumer brand companies are involved in class action lawsuits for overproduction and overpollution. So they are the types of organizations that are in the process of purchasing plastic credits to offset the pollution that they create. Standards documents that we're working with that we have to submit and represent to all of the organizations that we work with. We have to describe the type of project that we're working on. So for us in particular, it is chemical recycling using pyrolysis and catalytic pyrolysis. After that, we have to have a monitoring, verification, and report document. That is how we're monitoring the project, how we're reporting on the project, and how we are verifying that what we're saying is true. With plastic, it's actually a lot simpler than something like carbon because we use what's called mass balance, which basically means we can weigh the amount of plastic we take at the start of the process and weigh the output at the end. And the difference between the two gets subtracted, and then you go, okay, we took 1,000 tons of plastic today, and here is 1,000 tons of output. And you can see that through that, there's 1,000 tons of plastic gone from the environment. So it's a lot easier than tracking emissions. Plastic credit lifecycle. So once plastic credits are granted to a specific organization, they're granted for a specific period of time. I believe the maximum is up to 20 years at a time. So you are granted a specific number of plastic credits every year, conditional on auditing every year, obviously. And you are able to sell those plastic credits or transfer them to different organizations, much like you would with any other type of commodity, oil and gas, whatever it might be. Once a plastic credit is verified, it's authenticated, all that good stuff, You can go to the open market and trade those credits, though that trading happens on platforms, again, much like commodities trading would. The platforms that are most active off the top of my head would be CleanHub and the PCX, the plastic exchange. So you can take your credits to those markets, create your marketing material, create your organizational material so that people get invested in your project and trade them across those platforms. Demand still has yet to reach critical mass, but there are credits moving and there are credits flowing. So the understanding is that there are organizations buying them, but it might be as a result of direct relationships rather than across these platforms. So these platforms, the deal flow on them might look less than something like carbon credits, but that might be because the relationship of plastic credit production to sales is a direct one, where companies are reaching out directly to a different organization or to someone in their network and selling them that way. Again, because it is much more of a tangible credit than something like a carbon offset credit or a carbon removal credit. People understand that getting rid of 1,000 kilograms or a ton of plastic is getting rid of 1,000 kilograms or a ton of plastic. It's not as nebulous as, say, planting a tree. Right. So that's a long walk to get over the short bridge of there is a market, but it is weird to quantify. So the key takeaways here is that PlasCred is committed to going through these processes, both the plastic credit process and some other external certifications that we're pursuing, in order to show that the process through which we are destroying waste stream plastic and giving it a proper end of life and really participating in the circular economy, we're ensuring that we're meeting the highest regulatory standards, and we want the public to be aware of that. And if you want more information, you can always go to the website, PlasCred.com. You can reach out to us at info@PlasCred.com if you have any other questions, and should be an interesting journey to get this done.